need to talk a little bit about the biggest misunderstanding about patent law. And the biggest misunderstanding about patent law revolves around this relationship between the patentability of an invention and the infringement of another patent. And the best way that I could explain this is with a little example. On the left, we have a great American inventor. This is the light bulb. And Edison was awarded a patent for the light bulb. On the right side is another great American inventor. You probably haven't heard of him. I hadn't heard of him. By the name of Pipkin. Most of the bulbs in this room are frosted. My guess is most of the bulbs in your house are frosted. Most of the bulbs in your office are frosted. Like, this was a big deal. Pipkin improved upon Edison's light bulb in a major, major way. In a way that actually touches our lives every single day. Multiple, multiple times. My guess would be hundreds of times a day. Who can make a frosted light bulb? Edison or Pipkin? Let me put this another way. Say I'm Pipkin. I've been working really hard in my lab for a while. Finally figured it out. Perfected a way to frost light bulbs. Talked to a patent attorney, took a little equity stake in my company, filed the patent. It issued just yesterday. Would you invest in my company? It's going to be huge. 80% of all light bulbs are going to be frosted. You got 3 seconds to decide.
We should make sure whether you infringe the Edison.
Took too long. Are you going to infringe in my patent? You're not going to invest? You will invest. Great. Who else will invest? Pipkin. What's this? You kind of invest? What do you want? Options? Edison was a pioneer, and he had a pioneering invention. He had a patent out there, and that patent was an incredibly broad patent. It was effectively the light bulb. I mean, it's the thing that, like, goes off in the top of your head. I mean, that's how big of an idea it was. It literally went on over his head. Pipkin was an improvement. He built upon that. He took someone else's idea and said, all right, let's make this thing better. We're going to look down on these two cylinders. And when we look down on these two cylinders, we got Edison's huge land. And now we have Pipkin's smaller land inside of it. To build and make a frosted light bulb, you need to stand right in the middle of that. And to get in there, there's two fences around that. There's a black fence in which Edison has the key, and there's a red fence that Pipkin has the key. Edison could go right on through the black fence, but he's stuck when he hits the red fence. Pipkin can't even get in the black fence. He's fine if he could get through there, but he can't even get in. What happens? What's going on here?
I guess they have to cooperate.
They have to cooperate. What does that mean? Neither one of them can actually make a frosted light bulb. Edison can stop Pipkin, and Pipkin can stop Edison. And what happens in these types of situations is a cross-licensing deal. Pipkin could turn to Edison and say, you know what? You figured this out. You're killing it in the market space. Like, you got this great brand thing going on, and just give me a quarter every single time you make a frosted light bulb. And Pipkin's probably going to be like, yeah, this is awesome. I'll take that. Or Edison might say, you know what, Pipkin, I don't really believe that this frosted light bulb thing is going to take off. I'm pretty sure I perfected it. But if you want to go out there and try, just give me 50 cents every single time that you make a light bulb, and I'll give you those rights. Or maybe Westinghouse comes along and grabs rights from Pipkin and rights from Edison. I usually have my iPhone in my pocket, and this is usually when I pull it out. So pretend right here, this is my iPhone. How many patents are on this iPhone right now? Is it more than one? Is it more than 10? Is it more than 100? Is it more than 1,000? Is it about 5,000? Yes. It's about 5,000 patents. And a device that I usually have in my pocket. How is that possible? Apple doesn't own all 5,000. And it's not equally split between Apple and Samsung either. Although the media would like you to believe that, but that's not actually the case. There are hundreds, thousands of companies that have patents on things that are necessary to make that iPhone happen. And Apple pays, and Samsung pays, and we pay, and sometimes nothing gets paid, and sometimes no one even gets noticed, and sometimes things are paid for things that even shouldn't be paid on. But these things are actually a part of being a successful business. One of my clients was talking about, like, well, so I loathe the day when we're going to be sued by a patent troll. And I said, actually, as an investor, I'm super excited about that. And he just looked at me like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, that means that you're an incredibly successful company and that you're making somewhere on the order of about $100 million a year in revenue. I told you earlier how expensive it was to actually bring a patent infringement lawsuit, on the order of about $3 to $5 million. Now, you're not going to spend $3 to $5 million unless you know there's a good chance that you're going to make at least 10. And 10 is a reasonable royalty of 10% off $100 million in revenue. And so unless you're a $100 million in revenue company, you're typically not going to get sued. Unless it's by a direct competitor and it's perfect timing because you're starting to run out of money and you're about to raise a big round from Sequoia, and then your competitor just steps in and just squashes you. That's an awesome strategy, by the way. And that does happen over and over and over again in Silicon Valley. Not to my clients yet. So we're going to go back to the biggest misunderstanding about patent law. Invention can be patentable if it can be distinguished from previous inventions. A product may infringe if an existing patent, it may infringe an existing patent if it contains all the elements of a claim. I don't have the time to go into the huge matrix, but I can prove to you that these two things are completely independent of each other. And just really quickly, I could say it doesn't really matter if Pipkin actually had patents. It would still infringe that particular Edison's light bulb. And so think about, like, in terms of, like, it didn't really matter. And it didn't actually matter if Edison was there on the patentability of Pipkin's invention. These two things don't have anything to do with each other. Oftentimes when someone says, like, I have a patent on it, you think that they could actually make it. And that's not the case. We've been kind of building up to this point the whole time.